Welcome to Flipping Class on its Head with Mrs. Self in AP Government this semester. For this unit, and hopefully the succeeding units too, we're going to try flipping the classroom. I've done a lot of research and reflection on the flipped classroom model this summer, and I want to work with this model for your class. I think it will lead to greater engagement and performance for all of you, and I appreciate your willingness to work with me on making this class more interesting and accessible for all of us. So what is a flipped classroom? Basically, you do the things that maybe you might normally do in a classroom, like lecture, at home, and then the assignments that would normally be given for homework, which include sometimes some deeper analytical thought and analysis, would instead be done in the classroom where you could work with your peers and your teacher and get assistance and hopefully delve deeper on those things. So let's talk about the home part of it. Homework in this model will have three basic components. First of all, I'll be recording my lectures. I've divided my lessons into multiple segments that I can record a 10 to 15 minute lecture on without interruption. And it'll probably take you a little longer to watch them because you'll want to stop down. You'll need to stop and slow down and take some notes on it. Believe me, you're going to want to take the notes because none of you are going to listen to me give these lectures more than once. The other part is what we normally do in AP Government, which you'll have reading assignments nightly still. Segments of the textbook that you read, and then we have a quiz in class. Assignments out of the Lanahan Reader, which you'll probably prepare either for graded class discussion or you'll prepare a reflection activity with questions rather than summarizing them. Along the way, there'll also be some court cases and other things that we add in as we go. And the third component to that is the important task of your taking note and questioning what you're learning. You know, think about how I've explained it. Did I leave blanks that you need filled in? I'll try to end every lesson also with some questions, some deeper thinking questions that we can then explore further in class the next day. The classroom component is where I get really excited because that's where learning really changes in a flipped classroom. And my hope is that this will lead to a fully engaged classroom environment, which also stays on schedule. One of the biggest challenges I have in this course is that I only have a semester to teach it. And the curriculum is so broad that we're often racing to the end with 2 weeks left, and I say, oh no, we have 2 units to finish in 2 weeks. And we all feel shortchanged when that happens. With this model, of increased activities in class, but the lecture taking place outside of class, I think we'll be able to stay on track a little better so that we don't end up in that position as usual. Since you've already listened to my lecture on the content at home, you can come to class prepared to delve deeper into the content material through both individual and group activities, classroom discussions, simulations, games, and collaboration on some projects. So as you can see, the flip references the fact that the usual classroom lecture is flipped to outside class, while the application and analysis activities that most teachers assign as homework is flipped to class time, where you have a teacher and your peers available for collaboration and interaction. Now, how do I want you to take notes in this format? I'm using what I'm calling WINQ, W-N-Q. The first part of that acronym is to watch. You will watch the video lecture, and then you will annotate or take notes on it and write down any questions you have about the material. In the beginning of this, I'm going to want to see your WINQ notes the next day, both as a backup to make sure that we're all on task, but also to see if I'd identify any areas where I think you should be doing a little bit better job of that. You're all going to take notes differently, even like you take notes differently now. Some of you are more auditory, but we all have a visual aspect. And so you'll want to cue yourself because, like I said earlier, no one's going to go back and listen to me more than once before a test. Having those notes will serve as your reference. You can go back if you need to, but most of the time you won't. The question part of this model includes answering questions that I'll pose to you on the last slide of each lecture, but also any questions that arise for you as you're going through that lesson. Jot them down, and then you can come to class and ask me those questions. Hopefully, this will make you think more about the content of the lecture in a fresh and new way and will lead to deeper understanding. So hopefully I have explained how this is going to work well enough. I expect there to be some questions tomorrow, and that's my plan for class tomorrow, is for us to talk about this and answer any questions. Some things to think about. What thoughts do you now have about this model? Are there questions I didn't answer that you still have about the expectations under this new way of conducting class? And what do you find most exciting or nerve-wracking about this model? You know, do you have hesitation or anxiety? You might. Feel free to talk to me about those, and I'll do all I can to alleviate it. This is a bit experimental. We're going to try it, and hopefully we're all going to go with an open mind as we try it, because I really, really think that this can be a fun way of doing this course. I'm going to work hard to keep the lecture content time short, and keep your reading assignments in short segments so that I don't overload you. My goal this year is to work smarter, not harder than we have to, but still end up with those, 87 to 89% or better. I really strive for that 100% pass rate on the AP exam in May. So I look forward to working with this, and I look forward to talking to you about this tomorrow. Thanks.